Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. It's 4 o'clock in New York. At this hour, crowds are gathering in cities across the country in a massive display of people power against Donald J. Trump in what are the first large gatherings since millions came out just over 1 month ago for the No Kings protests. More than 3,000 separate protests are planned today in every corner of our country. Here's what it looks like in Chicago over the last hour, a city that was subject to a brutal crackdown by federal immigration agents last year. Earlier today in Washington, D.C., protesters blocked traffic on Capitol Hill. Here's what some of them told our colleague Arielle Hickson about why they took to the streets today.
I'm here to advocate for my husband and for immigrant detainees, workers' rights. My husband he came here at the age of 2. He's a barber. He was detained at our home last year, early January, and he's been detained for over 15 months. Rodney's disabled. He's a double amputee. He doesn't have any feet. The whole process of him being detained, he shouldn't even be in detainment. However, he's there. I'm here because it's May Day, and we would like to support immigrant rights as it relates to workers. Immigrants are workers, too. We work hard, if not harder, and I'm here to uplift his story.
Why are you here today?
To be a part of our community, to hold our government accountable for, to voice our concerns, what's going on not only in our country but other countries, how what we do affects everybody, for our neighbors, for everybody that's here, everyone that's living abroad, everything.
So people are out for all sorts of different causes and reasons, finding community. But central to today's protests are teachers. This was the scene in Raleigh, North Carolina, where thousands and thousands of teachers held a rally. They called it Kids Over Corporations. USA Today reports this, quote, scheduled school walkouts and a high number of teachers taking personal days have led school districts in Georgia, Illinois, North Carolina, Oregon, and Wisconsin to close for May Day. Now, May Day is traditionally a day of protest centered around workers. Here and around the world, it's taking on additional significance today, given Donald Trump's agenda and the fact that his war in Iran has sent gas prices soaring, making life more difficult for people and families, and especially workers everywhere. Donald Trump has loomed over these protests here and around the world today. An umbrella group of labor unions across Europe saying this, quote, working people refuse to pay the price for Donald Trump's war in the Middle East. Another day of protest is where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. With me at the table, host of Politics Nation, president of the National Action Network, the Reverend Al Sharpton, is here. Also joining us, political analyst, host of the Bulwark podcast, Tim Miller, is back with us. Hunter Dunn is also here. He's a spokesperson and national press coordinator for the grassroots organization 5051. But we're going to start with my friend and colleague, senior political and national reporter Jacob Soboroff. He is covering the protests, as he always does for us, in Los Angeles today. Jacob, tell me what you're seeing and hearing from folks out today.
Nicole, you and I have broadcast live together. In fact, I've been out here at every No Kings Day protest in downtown Los Angeles on Saturday, June 14th, after those ICE raids started on June 6th. And you're looking on the left-hand side of your screen at a live look at our MS Now drone flying above the streets of downtown when tens of thousands of people took to the streets. Again, in October, I took to the streets to report on the protests here. Again, on March 28th, we came out to the streets. And today, on May 1st, on the International Workers' Day, it feels no different. It feels as big, if not bigger. I want to give you, the protest has sort of stopped for the moment, and if I could give you a look at what's happening sort of all around me, this is the Service Employees International Union, tens of thousands strong. Their leader, David Huerta, was taken down on June 6th on the first day of these raids, literally thrown to the ground by federal agents, charged with, like so many of these cases we have seen all around the country, with a federal crime of obstructing a federal operation, only to have that case later be dismissed, and now he's charged with a misdemeanor, facing a year in prison. That's not the only reason that people are out here. Let me just walk around and show you everybody as they sort of pause in this moment, rounding the corner from Flower Street down 5th into the heart of downtown Los Angeles. We've been walking for the better part of the 4-mile walk with them as they're going to land at Gloria Molina Grand Park in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. The signs here run the gamut. People are talking about ending the war in Iran. As you said, Nicole, teachers are a huge force out here. I'm just walking by you. I just want, okay, that's all right. Not everybody wants to talk, Nicole, but let me say hello to you. I'm Jacob. We're live on MS Now. What's your name?
Helen.
What brings you out here today?
Workers.
The workers. Have you ever done a protest? I'm sorry to catch you off guard, but have you ever done a protest like this before? You have UCLA School of Public Affairs. Are you with UCLA?
I went to UCLA when it was UCLA Graduate School of Architecture and Urban Planning.
And so have you ever done
that was in the 90s.
Have you ever done a protest like this before?
Oh, you know, I've gone to a bunch of No Kings and a bunch of anti-Trump protests. Never been a May Day, and so this is awesome. The turnout is awesome. I'm so proud of everybody here. And, you know, we have a lot to say.
It's nice to meet you. Say your name again?
Helen.
Nice to meet you, Helen. Jacob. Nicole, Helen's point about May Day, and as we start walking, I'll walk with them. May Day is International Workers' Day. 20 years ago on this very day, May 1st, 2006, 1 million people marched through the streets during the Bush administration of downtown Los Angeles against a bill that was in the Congress of the United States that would criminalize on a federal level being an undocumented immigrant. It was an extraordinary march that marked the convergence of the workers' rights movement with the immigrants' rights movement here in Los Angeles in a way that people hadn't seen, or at least hadn't seen in generations. This is part of that tradition, and that's why people from, when I say all walks of life, I really mean it. I know I introduced you on this very broadcast when the ICE raid started to the National Day Laborers Organizing Network, Pablo Alvarado. As we walk sort of against the grain here, Nicole, I just want to show you over here, Los Jornaleros del Norte, a band of day laborers are playing out of this truck, and literally celebrating the day laborer movement, people who stand on the street corners at Home Depot, who do everything they can to help people in this city, particularly after the fires, let's move away from this, but are the targets of these indiscriminate ICE raids. It's everyone from everywhere, all through the streets of LA, and I have to say, this is not even the only march, Nicole, in Los Angeles today. Many of them are going to converge in downtown in just a little bit, as we keep walking here, Nicole.
Jacob, tell me how the protesters seem. Are they, and I know you're interviewing them, you know, here on live TV, but as you've been there and been doing your reporting, is this a cumulative act of collective courage, or do people feel afraid to be out there protesting?
It's a great question, and actually, I don't know if they'll talk to me, but let me see if these guys will talk to me. Hey, you guys seem like you're relatively young guys. You ever come out to a protest like this before?
Oh, no, it's my first time here.
And so today's Friday, you're probably in school normally?
Well, I decided to come into the protest because I wanted to, like, have a voice in the community.
What's your name?
Kevin.
Kevin, my colleague Nicole was asking me, you know, is it an act of sort of collective courage? Is it hard for you to be out here? Are you worried about it? What does it feel like for you to be out here with so many people today?
I mean, like, it's not that scary, but there are some worries of, like, maybe, like, something happening here, or, like, I'm not really that worried.
How old are you?
15.
15 years old. That's awesome. And who are these guys that you're here with?
Oh, they're my friends, you could say, yeah.
And are you in a band together?
Yeah, we are.
It's pretty cool. Why'd you decide to play music out here today?
This is my form of, like, supporting the community, because it's, like, what I do best, you know?
It's amazing. Kevin, really nice to meet you.
Really nice to meet you.
Okay. Man, I wish, yeah, play. Go ahead. They want to play something. I'll let them play, Nicole. But you can see Kevin's out here. I don't want to put him on the spot to say what school he's taking off from today, but that's the idea. Folks are walking out of work, are walking out of school. Careful right behind you, Sam. To be here in community with their fellow Angelenos. Actually, one thing real quick I want to show you, Nicole. I was showing this earlier today. Come on, Sam. Let's go over here. These guys are awesome, Nicole. This is the Car Wash Workers Center. I don't think we have a shot from the sky, but this is a parachute from the Clean Car Wash Workers Center. Car wash workers were the first ones to be targeted, along with the workers at the day laborers at Home Depot, indiscriminately. The Trump administration said they were going after the worst of the worst. You know this. We all know this. They were doing anything but. They were targeting people that work at car washes, that were trying to rebuild homes, that were working at fruit stands, working in the fashion district. You name it, the administration was going after them. We walked by Miguel Contreras Learning Complex, where you and I reported about Nori Santai Ramos, that AP honors student who was deported with her mother after trying a routine check-in for immigration status, only to have her mother die when she made it there. I think people are out on the streets in support of so many of the people that have been taken out of our community here in Los Angeles, as you said, out of Chicago, out of Charlotte, out of Minneapolis, from the hallways of 26 Federal Plaza over the better part of the last year.
Jacob Sobroff, you know, I can never get enough of the people that you are marching alongside and reporting on. So just wave an arm and the control room will get you right back on the air. Thank you so much for starting us off. Thank you. Hunter Dunn, let me bring you in on this. Just tell me what's happening around the country.
Yeah. Right now, building off the momentum of the No Kings protest, we're seeing over 4,000 plus actions taking place across the country to demand three things. One, to tax the rich and put our families before their fortunes. Two, abolish ICE and end Trump's war on Iran. And thirdly, to expand democracy instead of corporate rule in response to the Supreme Court decision we saw over the past several days. That was horrific. Right now, in places like Los Angeles, but also in deep red areas like Missouri and Louisiana, we're seeing the people come together, not left versus right, but workers versus the 99.999% versus the billionaire class. We, the people, showing our collective power, we're just beginning to flex our muscles as a nation.
Hunter, how do you evaluate whether a planned day of protest is a success?
Yeah. Well, there's different types of actions, right? Obviously, there's the large national day of actions like No Kings. And then that feeds into the local actions, direct action, anti-ICE, mutual aid, putting direct pressure on your legislators. But with May Day, what we're looking for is economic non-cooperation, people taking the next step and doing more than just marching and rallying. We're seeing a 5-day-long strike starting with healthcare workers in Louisiana. We're seeing one-day strikes in Minnesota. We're seeing days of no work, no school, no shopping in over a dozen major metropolitan areas across the country. So what we're looking for is for the American people to take the next step, more than just getting out there and rallying against Trump, but rallying for our rights and putting economic pressure on the people in power to get them to listen to our demands.